guys right now?
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Fighting Words on the Fighting Words News Network. Fighting Words is brought to you each and every night of the week in grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, men and women of police and fire services, the doctors and nurses and first responders, to COVID. Uh, tonight's show is dedicated to a group of people. On Tuesday, we're going to celebrate one of the most important days in the year, of any year in the United States. It's There are many people who fought to make sure freedom is not free. Some fought, gave some gave all. For those who are all the veterans that we have around, all the branches, all the veterans of the services, we want you to know we appreciate your service to America. To the Gold Star families who lost a loved one during any skirmish, we give you our deepest sympathy and greatest gratitude. Tonight's show is also going to be dedicated to a young man, Marshawn Nealon. Um, when you have there's many times in life when there's darkness appears. And you get to that dark spot, please think about calling somebody. There's always a hotline out there, whether it's the state or individuals. There's always somebody to talk to. Please don't do what this poor young man did and lost his life at 24 years old at the height of his career. And the last one we dedicated to is, unfortunately, we had another deputy lose his life during a traffic stop. Deputy David Germanello, Manatee-Dade County Sheriff, was shot and killed while trying to effect the stop. So to his family, we send out our deepest regrets. Um, well, where we are, Caden, it's nice to have you back.
Yes, sir. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Well, tell me about Steven Garcia's win with his TKO over David Amara.
That one, I didn't see out of all the ones that you're probably going to ask. I think that's going to be one of the only ones I did not see.
Okay. How about Joshua Boasty? The decision over Jake or Zach Porter Prater.
Who?
Joshua, what is it, Boasty? Boasti?
Is this is MMA? Is UFC?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know these names, bro.
My goodness gracious. How about Dern and?
Oh yeah, that's
Mackenzie Dern.
That's a good one. Just the championship fight, Mackenzie Dern. Last few years, she's been going up. She's gotten some big wins over Amanda Ribas. She's calling out big names. She beat Holly Holm. She's calling out big names like Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunez, Valentina Shevchenko. That would be a fight. I think without a doubt, if Valentina comes back, she'll fight Mackenzie Dern 100%. And Mackenzie Dern is good enough to hold out in that division, stay champion long enough to challenge that, but maybe that double champ status against Kayla Harrison. I don't think she can beat Kayla Harrison, but that's definitely something that could definitely happen in the future. Right now, I'm looking at an immediate rematch for the title before we're looking at anything else in terms of Valentina Shevchenko and others that would challenge her for her belt. But that was a great win. That was a great win.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly kind of unexpected how fast she rose through the ranks.
Right. Excuse me. Another question that came up, and I don't understand it. Ronda Rousey says that the UFC left her. It was my understanding that she retired, and now she's saying that no, they walked away from me. They didn't let me have fights. What's your thoughts?
I did see. I think she made a lot of controversial statements in a recent interview that she had. I can almost guarantee you that was probably part of that interview. And, I almost think it's kind of an attention grab because, you look at the state of her retirement. She retired, in a likely fashion. She went out. She was a champion for a while. A contender came that she could not beat, and she retired after she lost multiple times to her, and she suffered a brutal knockout to Amanda Nunes. I mean, it's not like she didn't retire and then come back out of retirement and lose to Amanda Nunes. Like, I don't know. I think that's definitely a weird narrative. But in that same interview, she also said that Joe Rogan is unqualified for his job, and honestly, I just can't say that's anywhere close to the truth, because you look at it, he's a great conversationalist. He's a Taekwondo champion, BJJ champion. He's competed in a wide amounts of karate and Taekwondo tournaments across the entire world. I don't know. I think that's definitely, good enough. But I don't know. I think that that's most likely more of an attention grab than anything concrete.
Let me go over to the boxing side for a minute here. Boots Ennis had a tremendous first round knockout in his last event, but now he and of course his owner / manager want to call out Virgil Ortiz. They went ringside to try and get him to commit to something, and if they can't get to him, they want to get Lubin. What's your thoughts?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, bro.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, what happened was that Boots Ennis had knocked a guy out in the 1.7 minutes. 1.7 minutes of the first round at the Liqueur Center 2 weeks ago, and then he and Eddie Hearn decided that they want Virgil Ortiz, but Virgil Ortiz kept ducking him. So they went. He had a fight last night, so they went ringside to try and force him to sign a contract. If they can't get that contract, they want to try and get Edison Lubin to fight him. And either way, I think Boots is trying to bite off a hell of a lot more than he can handle.
Boots Ennis, he's a good fighter. Would that be him moving up? Because I know he's big for his weight class.
Yeah,
I think he has room to move up. In terms of the guys that he would be fighting, I don't know. That'd be more of a Tony and Z and all those guys.
Yeah.
I think if he wants to move up, I think he should move up. It seems like he's been fighting a while at welterweight, and every single time his name comes up, they always talk about how big he is for the weight class. So if he wants to move up, I say let him move up.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you another. Here's another question on the boxing side. Oscar De La Hoya has said no to Ryan Garcia Jake Paul fight.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised about that. Oscar, actually a little bit, because, Oscar De La Hoya, part of my friend, he's a slimy bastard. Everyone knows that dude's a slime ball. And I'm kind of, that is a little surprising that he says absolutely not to a fight that would make money. Like him or hate him. The Paul brothers, whenever their name comes across, people love that. People love that stuff. They love that crap. They love watching that crap, whether the fight is good, whether the fight is bad. They get big names, and honestly, they put together some fun cards. I like watching some of the misfit cards that they put on, like the Tyson Paul fight. That wasn't a good fight. But the card in general, I thought it was an entertaining card. That Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if anybody wants to go fight the Paul brothers and make their bag, I say do it. I can't really hate on that.
Right. You know, it's funny you said something about Oscar because Arthur Beterbiev finally his contract was up with them. Now he's a free agent and he's looking for fights on his own. Um, do you think that's a good move or a bad move?
I think representing yourself can go a multitude of ways. I think you can definitely get taken advantage of. But then on the flip side, you got those managers that are going to take advantage of you, and that's extra cost. So you see a lot of players like you go Jackson. Lamar Jackson's agent is his mom. I don't know if you knew. That's a little known fact. Lamar Jackson, one of the best players in the NFL, highest played NFL players ever. His agent is his mom. So I think you can, if you can know how to work the system and know how to represent yourself right, I think that might be one of the better options. But getting a manager doesn't hurt.
Okay, coming back to the MMA side, there was a thing this morning's New York Post said that Dana is sweating out the White House boxing match, MMA match, because the costs have spiraled out of control. What's your thoughts?
I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe anything that says this isn't going to happen. I 100%, this is one of those things I 100% believe this will happen. Just because of all the buildup. If it doesn't happen, I mean, that'll be one of the biggest letdowns we see. I mean, it's been promised. All this hype about it, just for it to fall apart, that would be horrible. Also, I haven't seen anything on that yet. If I do, next show, we'll definitely bring it up again. But if that were to happen, that would be a big hit for the UFC.
Yeah.
I just don't see if that would be. I just don't think that would be the problem. You know what I mean? For that fight card to fall apart, I think it would have to be a personnel problem, like something off with fighters. On recent days leading up to the fight,
right?
For the events that could possibly mess up the card. But the costs, I mean, you think about it, this is going to be the highest grossing event in UFC history. Cost, that's not even an object. 100%, this will be the highest grossing UFC event ever. No doubt.
Well, keeping on that same vein, John Jones is pleading with Dana White to put him on the White House fight card.
I've seen that, and you know what? He'll probably get it. He'll probably get it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some headlines coming up that he does get it. He's got so much pull with the UFC. I mean, that dude, he's done so much for the UFC, so much for the company, and you see this dude, he's hurt the company so much. You look at this guy's reign of him being in the UFC. How many times has he been arrested? How many times has his arrest been for bad stuff like domestic violence, possession of drugs, hit and run on a pregnant woman, and yet he's still able to come back and be the biggest name in the UFC and be Dana White's favorite fighter. So I don't think, no matter what he does, he'll always have pull there with Dana. So I won't be surprised if he does end up on that card or another big card here soon. But also we could see, we've seen Dana hold his ground. But John Jones is special, man. I think he'll probably be on that card.
Okay. Well, let me. You just brought something up about violence and things like that. There's a fight that was set that put Tank Davis in a very, very sharp light and could have made a lot of money. That's been called off now because, once again, he used his girlfriend's face as a training bag.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's a harsh way to put it.
Yeah.
I did see that. That was the fight against Jake Paul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you this. I'm not surprised that it's not happening. That just seemed like a novelty fight. That's like out of a video game. You know what I mean? Yeah, it didn't seem right from the start. And for it to end that way, that's definitely a brutal way to end it. Probably the worst way that it could have been canceled. But either way, I'm not. Those dudes have so much controversy around them. Maybe not Jake Paul. That kind of, he's never really pulled out of those fights or anything like that. But you look at Tank Davis and the past years. I mean, especially recently, that dude has been getting in so much trouble. I'm not surprised one of his fights, didn't go through, especially a fight like this. You know what I mean? Like a novelty fight and not like an actual legacy fight.
Right. Okay. Coming back to Dana. Dana was visited on Monday by the members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation because there was bets placed on a fight that possibly one of the fighters himself bet on himself, and Dana bet him to lose. And because it was over the phone, it became a federal offense if they were fixing the fight. I know that's not below Dana's purview to fix a fight, but you think that he would do something that stupid?
I don't know if it's illegal for Dana to be betting on the fights. I don't know. I know if you're betting on your own fight that you're in, that's definitely illegal. And if they are fighters with the NBA, I don't know if you guys been keeping up with any of that. But recently they had a Miami Heat player get arrested. The coach for I forget who it was. One of the teams. He gets suspended, fired. He's under investigation from the FBI. You got like 40 members of the NBA under investigation from the FBI.
Right.
And just after you got that, you got the UFC. I mean, they're cracking down.
Right.
They are cracking down, and the sports betting is one of the craziest. It's like the most idiotic crap you'll ever see, especially with some of the lower level UFC fighters. I get it more, because they're not making millions of dollars.
Right.
But with the star NBA players and the star NFL players like Jameson Williams on the Detroit Lions, he's gotten suspended twice for this. I mean, he's a first round draft pick.
Right.
His bonus is millions of dollars. Why are you sports betting? Why are you betting for pocket change? You know what I mean? Oh my God! And it's getting you suspended games. Getting some guys like this dude's probably going to get arrested. The dude from the NBA got arrested. It's crazy. It's insane. The sports betting has always made no sense to me.
Right. Well, the one guy that the Miami Heat player had an arraignment the other day, and he pleaded guilty. So my thoughts on that is,
it's obvious, but you see some of the gameplay from when he plays, and that dude was like throwing passes into the sideline, like it's blatant, and I'm pretty sure I saw some clips on the UFC fighter we're talking about, and it was the same thing. Like it's this dude is blatantly throwing the fight in front of all.
Yeah. The other question, another question I was going to ask you about that, but the Miami coach, he must be involved too because somebody set his house on fire.
Really?
Yeah, he lost his whole house the other day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember, there's stuff like this that happens all the time. Yeah, I remember when Jay Leno went on live television. He had like a big eye patch on, like he just got the crap beaten out of him. He's like, I fell down this. Like, no, you didn't. No, you did. You're in trouble, buddy. Yeah, it all comes around. It all comes around. Whether it's you getting beaten up by some thugs or the federal government knocking at your front door. Kicking down your front door. Here they are.
Mm-hmm. Hey, tell me about Debashili versus Jan too.
I don't think if that's been signed, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it has
been signed. That's pretty crazy. He doesn't deserve it at all. Corey Sandhagen deserves that.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely check that. I didn't see anything about that.
It was in yesterday's MMA news.
Maybe they were talking. I don't know if that was signed because I think I would have seen something about that. If it is signed, though, I'll tell you what. Petr Yan is going to get absolutely mauled. Like, that's not even a joke. Merab he's fast, he's precise, and that motor is crazy. He's 30, he's like 34, 33 years old, and he gets better every single time he's in the octagon. It's crazy. It's like progression like you've never seen. And if you were to go against Petr Yan, Petr Yan, he's past. I think he's past due a little bit. I'm not ready to completely throw him away. He just had a good win a couple months back, and I think he definitely is going to get maybe another run at it. But right now, Corey Sandhagen deserves that shot, 100%. Like, not even. I thought Corey Sandhagen was going to go in there and get absolutely destroyed. He did better against Merab than Sean O'Malley did. That completely unexpected from Corey Sandhagen. I thought he did a lot better than the rest of the division would do against Merab.
There was another question that came up: is why is Conor picking on Manny for his next fight?
Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah.
And Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense to me.
That would definitely be a boxing match. That would definitely be a boxing
match.
And that honestly, I would like to see it just to see Conor back in the fighting somebody. But I don't know. I think Pacquiao could probably put in some good work on Conor. Conor's been out of the game for a minute. I think if he was still fighting, I definitely lean towards Conor going in there and taking care of business. But you still never know. Conor, he's such a high level striker. He's literally been at the top of it all. He's been one of the best strikers we've ever seen ever. So I think we can't throw that away. The fact that he was training MMA his whole life, trained boxing for 6 months, went in there and went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, that's something. He didn't win that fight, but he went the distance with Floyd Mayweather, one of the best boxers of all time. And he did that off of 6 months of boxing. So I truly think he can hold his own against anybody. It's just now it's kind of hard to speak on Conor and Manny for right, because you don't know what they're gonna do. Manny has a little bit more substance because he just fought what was it, Mario Barrios?
Barrios, yeah.
Yeah, and he won that fight, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that, so he's definitely got more substance matter to prove that he could probably win that fight over Conor. But if that is to say if that fight were to even happen, I would think Conor might come back for the White House card, if anything. Like if he comes back for absolutely anything, it'll be the White House card. And I think if he doesn't come back for that, then I don't think we'll ever see Conor McGregor in combat sports ever again.
Okay, we talked about Jake Paul a few minutes ago. he was crazy enough to offer Nate Diaz $4 million to come into the ring with him. Nate Diaz politely rejected it.
He already fought. He already fought Nate Diaz, and respectfully, he beat the crap out of Nate Diaz.
Right.
And it was exactly what you expected, though. I mean, Nate Diaz is like 50 years old almost. He's like 50 years old, and he spent the last 30 years of his life getting punched. More than that, probably like 35 years of his life getting punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he ain't got a lot left. So I really don't want to see Nate Diaz. I'm glad he turned that down. I don't want to see Nate Diaz get hit again.
Mm-hmm.
That dude, he's gotten hit enough.
Right. Here's one of your good buddies, Jack Della Madonna and Makachev.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a big one. This is champ versus champ.
Right.
This is lightweight champ versus welterweight champ. Islam Makhachev finally getting a shot at double champ, which recently we're gonna have. I'm pretty certain he's gonna win that fight against JDM.
Mm-hmm.
And you just look at it, Jack Della Maddalena, he's never in his entire career, he's never attempted a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
And that is there's a lightning bug in front of me. Well, that's pretty crazy. You never see that before. Anyway, he's never attempted a takedown in his entire UFC career. And you got Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, one of the most talented wrestlers we've ever seen in UFC history. So, I mean, on paper, Islam's going to go out there and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But JDM, he's got some oomph to him. He's definitely got some oomph to him, and he can be pretty scary when you get close to him. If he can just fend him off, like how Alexander Volkanovski did a great job at keeping Islam Makhachev at bay for the most part, as well as he could. He got taken down 3 or 4 times in that fight, but as well as he could, he did a good job. He did the best that we've ever seen out of anybody to try and keep Islam Makhachev away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And if JDM can do that, just move around, you keep moving around the barrier, keep Islam Makhachev on the back foot with his striking,
mm-hmm.
then he's got the champ. But I think Islam's just going to go in there and, first, second round, get him out of there, if we're going to be completely honest here. And I think with that, that's going to be 2 double champs in 1 year, with Ilia Topuria beating Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev beating Jack Della Maddalena. That'll be 2 double champs in 1 year. That's pretty crazy. We got it's a special time in the UFC right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good fighters out there.
Yeah, going back to the other side again, they just announced or just had something come across the line that Bruce Ennis now is trying to get a fight with Fundora since nobody else will fight him. I think that's going to be that would be a blood match. It'd be a toe-to-toe because they both like to use the middle of the ring. They both like to beat up on their opponent. And I don't think that they better have an ambulance sitting outside the ring whenever they do it because somebody's going to need it. What do you think?
I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. I don't know much about that one, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
Okay. Okay. Zircadian, Sarukin, and Hooker coming up in next week.
Something I didn't hear about that one. But that is, I think that's some disrespect to Arman Saryukin. If he goes out there and fights Dan Hooker, oh my God, man! Dan Hooker, he's a good fighter. He's making a comeback right now, but Saryukin, he's so good. He's only ever lost to Islam Makhachev in the UFC. He's a great grappler. He's got great stand up. I think one of the best showcases was against Charles Oliveira. I mean, he went out there, completely countered Charles. He did great against Charles. He not as good as Ilya Taporia or Islam Makhachev, but I think he did. He definitely put on one of the best performances against Charles we've ever seen, and he had that fight lined up against Islam Makhachev, and it flipped. That was going to be, I think, Islam's most challenging fight at lightweight, and then he moved up before that fight could even ever happen. And now Arman Tsarukyan's got to deal with Ilya Taporia at the top, and honestly, that's no better. That's no better than Islam Makhachev. But in terms of against Dan Hooker, I think he'll go out there and maul Dan Hooker. But you never know. You never know with Dan Hooker. That dude, he's got that fighting spirit, and for most of his career, he's kind of been that mid-tier fighter, and now he's having some sort of crazy veteran run, and you love to see it from a guy like Dan Hooker, honestly.
I'm glad you said something about veteran run, because Justin Cagey, it seems that he's never going to fight again. Do you think that's right or wrong?
I think it's possible. He's had so many wars in his time as a UFC fighter. Last time fighting, I don't think so. I think he's got some fights left in him just because he's still on top, man. Like, obviously he's not a champion. I don't think he's going to go out there and beat Ilya Taporia. But I'll be damned if I say he doesn't have a shot. You know what I mean? To go out there and still be a contender in the lightweight division, in any division, really, in any division that he can make it in, whether that be welterweight or I don't think he'll ever move down, but lightweight, I think he can still be a top contender in any of those divisions. He's still got that puncher's chance, and he's still got the footwork and the IQ, fighting IQ, not book smart IQ. That's for sure. But Justin Gaethje, if that is the last time we see him was against Islam, then so be it. He went out on top. On top.
Okay. Was it? See, one of the things I want to bring up here was Keyshawn Davis seems to be ignoring Andy Cruz. Cruz is wanted him to fight. They've offered him a big purse. It doesn't seem to be going through. He just keeps running away, according to Cruz. What do you think?
Is that boxing?
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering. I don't know those names.
Okay. David Benavidez was talking in Boxing 24 this last week, and one of the quotes is that he thinks that Canelo is taking on an awful lot of extra poundage and may not do as well in his next fight. Dr. Chris has always said, you put weight on or you take weight off prior to a fight. You're not at your peak. What do you think about that one?
I'd have to agree with it. When you're fluctuating weight, especially if you're moving down and you're making some sort of big weight cut, you're not at yourself. Moving up is a little different. I think there are definitely some guys that benefit from moving up. Like you look at Conor McGregor, he was severely limited at flyweight before he moved up to feather, and then eventually lightweight. And he only got better. So there are some guys that sometimes all it takes is a change in division. Like on the flip side, in the UFC, you got Jared Cannonier. He was a heavyweight. He moved down to all the way to middleweight, and at middleweight is where he got his title shot against Israel Adesanya. So some guys are just better at a different weight, and some guys aren't. You know, I think it does take a special individual to move down and be better. You know, especially a Jurassic move down in weight. But if he's going to move up and fight some new competition, that could also be a risk. And it's not all about you as well. You know what I mean? You got to think about the guys fighting and the dudes that are in that division.
Mm-hmm. If you had to pick out who the best grappler was this year, who would you think it would be?
I would say Merab Dishravelli.
Okay, and why?
You know, he made that run into bantamweight gold, and you know, with his grappling and his constant pressure, he was able to beat Sean O'Malley twice, Corey Sandhagen one time, you know, defend his belt against Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen, and you know, he's never really had a chink in his armor. Every single time he goes out there and fights, he grapples. And he puts on constant pressure from the start of the belt to the end, and people can't stop him. Like he just wins every single round. People can't stop him. You know, if Islam Makhachev had some more fights, I'd probably say him. But you know, Merab just has so much substance matter for this last year. You can also throw in Hamzat Chimaev. With his grappling, he was able to go in there and become a middleweight champion. Finally, finally, I kind of forget it because it feels surreal that Hamzat is a champion. And honestly, I feel like I could go either way on either it being Merab or Hamzat Chimaev. Just because you look at the way that Hamzat won that fight against Dricus du Plessis. I mean, it was 5 rounds of him just completely dominating Dricus du Plessis. He just run up to him, grab him, and put him on the ground whenever he wanted. So it's definitely between either Hamzat Chimaev or Merab Dishravelli for sure.
Okay. You know, Eddie Hearn, going back to the other side, claims now that Devin Haney is positioned to make big bucks. I don't know whether that's just him thinking that or Haney's father was shooting his mouth off or what, but he hasn't really impressed a whole lot of people. What do you think?
You know, I think as of late, Devin Haney definitely hasn't been impressing. But you look at the majority of his career as a young boxer, I mean, he was definitely a prospect, a top prospect. And it seems to me that, you know, before that fight with Ryan Garcia, everything was going so well for Devin Haney, so well. And then he goes in there, he fights Ryan Garcia, you know, and the rest is history. Ryan Garcia goes in there, puts on an absolute clinic with that, you know, led with that left hook, and you know. It was also the way that Devin Haney and his father along with him, you know, I think he got to group him in there. The way that they reacted after that loss, because it was a shock, you know. He's on an undefeated path all the way to the top. He got the biggest fight of his life. He's had not even a problem with anybody else he's fought, and he can't do anything to Ryan Garcia. And I do think that was not only a big physical loss for him, you know, in terms of he literally lost the fight, but mentally, I mean, just having that 1 there instead of a 0, that can do a lot. That can really do a lot. And you really saw with the way that they handled it. You know, I think that really tarnished a lot of his career. You know, it seems like every time we talk about Devin Haney, we're talking about his father and that fight against Ryan Garcia.
Right.
every single time, and he's had a fight, but he's had a fight since then. You know what I mean? So, if anything, I think people should start talking about his future than drawing on what's already happened, especially especially his team. You know,
Right.
his team just to leave it in the past, man, because it's nothing but bad press.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, but now here's a good one for you. Stevie Garcia is calling out Max Holloway.
I don't know Stevie Garcia. If he's calling out Max Holloway, you know, that's a dangerous call out, especially from somebody that I don't know. I would have to lean towards Max Holloway versus this fellow we're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Just doing some scrambling here. Okay, so Bo Nickel. Yeah, here we go. Against Rodolfo Vieira. Vieira?
Yeah, I did hear that Bo Nickel was making a comeback, and you know I do like that he's going to go out there and get some. You know, I always hate to say tune-up fight or tune-up game when we're talking about football or basketball or anything like that, because it almost seems disrespectful to the other team or the other fighter. But if we're going to be completely honest, it's a tune-up fight. And Bo Nickel should have no problem with whoever they put in front of him for his return to MMA. And if he does, then there's a serious problem there. You know, when he lost to Ranier de Ridder, I think it was a bigger shock then because people didn't realize how good de Ridder was. You know, de Ridder, he's a damn good fighter, and he's a damn good grappler too. And you know, that fight, it isn't like he definitely got dominated in terms of grappling, and he lost every round. But it's not like he got the crap beaten out of him in that fight.
Right.
And you know, now that it's kind of worked out the way it has, I think it was a little harsh for him to step away from the sport. But again, it's all about that one, man. He's undefeated. You know, he's undefeated for most of his college career in wrestling. He's one of the greatest college wrestlers of all time. He goes into MMA. He's undefeated, and then he gets that loss, and he's done. He retires. Just like that. And that one, man, that one can traumatize you.
Sure. Well, you know, the one thing that I wanted to bring up about that was they were set to be a main event, but they've been downgraded now to a prelim. And Bo Nickel is very upset about that.
You know, I'm not surprised about it because you go, you take a layoff, you fight. You know, you go fight a tune-up fight. That's not main event worthy.
Right.
That shouldn't be on a main event anyway.
But it took him out of the possibility of getting that $50,000 bonus.
Yeah, you can get a $50,000 bonus in Cleveland.
He can?
Oh yeah.
I didn't think you could. I thought it was mostly the.
It's mostly them,
card.
but you can still get a $50,000 bonus if you fight Cleveland.
I just got schooled on that one. Okay. On the other side here. We got Ryan Garcia and Mario Barris coming up on the 26th. That, to me, Ryan Garcia is he seems to be making a transition. His footwork seemed to be different. He seemed to be more aggressive than he has been. And I just wonder what your thoughts, if you think of that.
You know, Barrios, he's a big guy. He's a big guy. And we've seen, especially, you know, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but that Devin Haney fight, he looked big. He looked big as hell. He looked almost like steroid big in that fight. And you know, that's the controversy. But he looked extremely big in that fight. And then his most recent fight, that was against not Lamont Roach. That was what's the name? I forget who he fought, but he looked drastically smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's going to fight Mario Barrios, I mean, I'd assume that'd be an up in weight. You know, Mario Barrios looks bigger. So I also think that Devin Haney fight was one of the best we've ever seen Garcia, and I think it was due to his size. Man, he was moving quicker. That left hook had more power. I think he could definitely go up there and take care of Mario Barrios 100%.
Okay. Hey, I know Tom Aspinall is one of your top fighters. He and Cyril Gain had a fight a couple weeks ago, and it had to be stopped because of an eye poke. Okay, here's the question: was that set up? Was it? Did he Gain actually hit him in the eye on purpose, or because the gloves are usually on, and you using your fist, not your open hand? So
no, they have their fingers are out in the gloves.
Yeah, I know, but you're still not using your open hand most of the time. When you're going to the face, you're using a fist.
I tell you what, it happens. Eye pokes are a part of the game. They happen every single event. Every single event, there's at least one eye poke. That was a bad eye poke. We've seen some bad eye pokes. They're never on purpose. I think the big controversy on this, if there is any controversy, is did Tom quit? You know what I mean? Because most eye pokes, you take your time and you're good. You know what I mean? But in this fight, I was at work. I was trying to watch it. I couldn't watch it. My brother Logan always likes to rain on my parade. So I'm going to take whatever he says with ounces, with a grain of salt. He was telling me that Tom Aspinall was kind of getting some hands put on him. You know what I mean? And he had a bloody nose when the eye poke happened.
Right.
And people were saying maybe he quit. I don't think so. I think that's completely asinine to think that he would go out there and quit in a fight that he's trained. He said he had an 18-month training camp for. He's been training 18 months for this fight. You think he would just throw it all away for an eye poke stoppage? Like, you look at the video, it's a clear eye poke. You know what I mean? And it's a bad one. And again, they're never on purpose. It was a natural eye poke. He's just moving. He's moving backwards, and his Tom's moving forward, and then he hits his hand. There you go. There's the eye poke. And again, you hate to see that be the reason why the fight ended. As a Tom Aspinall fan, I'm definitely disappointed. Especially because, I mean, that's a fight that he should be going out there and whooping ass, from the start. And for him to be getting some hands put on him like that, especially from Cyril Gane, maybe we've been counting Cyril Gane out because of his last couple fights have been being, him losing to grappling. But man, I still think if the eye poke didn't happen, the fight went the way it went, I still think Tom would have brought up the win, just because, man, he's the best, man. I'll say he's the best. He's the best heavyweight in the world for a reason. He's a champion for a reason. Get that rematch, and Tom's gonna win. I just hate that we're gonna have to wait all this time, years, literally, like probably 2 years, just to see a full, actual, start to finish Tom Aspinall heavyweight championship fight. And it's all because of an eye poke and John Jones.
All right. Here's a question for you. Patty Primbert tells Ilya Tapura stop running away from me and start fighting me. Um, One, was that a smart move to call him out? And two, who do you think would win that one?
It's always smart to call out the big dog. Everyone wants to fight the king. You look at these guys' history; they both came in the UFC around the same time, and Ilya Topuria just took off.
Mm-hmm.
He just took off into becoming, in my opinion, I think he's the best fighter in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at how Paddy Pimblett took off, and it was a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
It was worst opponents, and it took time for Paddy to get where he is now.
Mm-hmm.
And even where Paddy's at now, if he were to fight Ilya right now, I think he gets put on his ass in the first round.
Ooh.
I don't think he stands a chance against Ilya Topuria.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I do think he is a loss against Ilya Topuria away from being an elite fighter. I think he needs that loss. He's another fighter. He's undefeated, and he's had some fights where I think he should have lost.
Mm-hmm.
You look at his road to where he's at now.
Mm-hmm.
He's fought dudes due to their combined record of the last 15 fights was 0-15.
Mm-hmm.
So he's fought dudes who are 0-15 in the last 15 in the combined record of the last 15 fights. That's what he's gotten to get where he's at. To get his top 5 ranked position. So I do think it's a little bit fraudulent for him to be up that high and him to even be in the conversation to fight Ilya Topuria. But he is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ranking wise, he deserves to be in that conversation, and that fight will happen. And Paddy does have immense potential, but he just needs to, iron sharpens iron, and he needs to fight some good fighters to really get better. And I think, we really haven't seen him against an elite level fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So say you give him, honestly, I think he should be fighting Dan Hooker. You give him Arman Saryukin, you give him Ilya Topuria, Charles Oliveira. You see how he does against those fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could really, I think there's a true gauge on Ilya Topuria. Paddy Pimblett, and his current worth right now in the UFC in terms of a title shot.
Mm-hmm. All right, and the final one we have is Conor McGregor calling out Jeremy Stephens.
Yeah, it wasn't. I saw that it wasn't for a fight. It's always funny between them. He had the iconic moment. This is actually after they had already fought before earlier on in the UFC, and Conor McGregor absolutely ran through him, knocked him out cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few years later, in a press conference, he had an iconic moment against him. And Conor McGregor, he's always saying the craziest stuff, so I can't even repeat what he said on here.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can look that one up on your own. And then recently he had another little verbal dispute with him at the bare knuckle press conference it was a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the final one I have is Brian Norman got a $3 million payoff from WBO. Do you know what that was all about?
I do not.
I don't either.
I do not.
I'm going to have to check that one out further. I was hoping Z was on because he'd have the answer to that one. But,
yeah, I bet.
Well, that brings us to the end of our script here, and I appreciate everything you've done. And of course, you always do. You're always well prepared, and we look forward to it every week. And I know we've gotten a couple emails asking how at a young age you're able to gain so much knowledge. So that's a real plus for you. So thank you again. You want to lead us out?
Of course. Pops, Butch, thank you for always keeping us straight on being a host. I'm sorry for being absent the last couple of weeks, but I'm here now. I'll be on next week.
Great.
And I'll see y'all then.
Okay.
God bless.
All right. Thank you. You did a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, these programs are brought to you each and every night of the week. In grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, men and women of police and fire services. When you're out there and you see somebody in a uniform, please let them know you know they're there. This is very hard times, both domestic and foreign, for anybody in uniform. And we see this every week where there's a police officer shot or a firefighter shot at. So please keep that in mind. These programs are dedicated to those who've lost their lives in the line of duty. Deputy Robert Anthony Carroll, Patrolman David Curtis, Patrolman Jeffrey Colcap, Patrolman Jeffrey Yazowitz, Sergeant Thomas Batinger, San Diego Officer Mike Hendler, Sergeant Tom Wilson, Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, Detective Randy Bell, Detective Ricky Childers, and Patrolman Charlie Conant, Tarpon Springs Police Department, Deputy Chief Mike Godwin, Philadelphia Fire Department, Lieutenant Joyce Craig Lewis, Philadelphia Fire Department, Sergeant James O'Connor, Philadelphia Police Department, Sergeant Chris LeBake, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Mike Zerba, Newcastle County Police, Patrolman Anafo Crispin, Lakeland PD, Deputy Josh Meyer, Nassau County Sheriff's Department, Captain Matt Letourneau, Philadelphia Fire Department, Captain Chris Leach, Wilmington Fire Department, Lieutenant Ardith Hope, Wilmington Fire Department, Lieutenant Jerry Ficus, Wilmington Fire Department, Chief Jimmy Ford, Wilmington Fire Department, Chief Al Hogle, Longboat Key Police Department, Deputy Mike Hargrove, Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, Trooper Chelsea Richards, Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Joe Bullock, Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Zachary Ben, Florida Highway Patrol, Sergeant Chris Fitzgerald, Philadelphia Police Department, Sergeant Ramon Mendez, Philadelphia Police Department, Chief Corey Compantier, Buffalo Creek Fire Department, Deputy Ronnie Ronazinski, Manatee County Sheriff's Department, and Patrolman Zachary Butterfield, Bradenton Police Department. My brothers and sisters, although you may be 10-7 at this point in time, at some time we'll be 10-10 at the table of the Lord. Until that time, may the roads rise up to meet you. May the winds be always at your back. May the rains fall softly on your fields, and the sun shine lightly on your face. Until we meet again, may the good Lord keep you and your families always in the palm of his hand. Good night, God bless, and have a good week.